Hi everyone, I'm Steve Main with Fitness for 5 and Fitness for 10, here with Dr. Nario. Again, Dr. Nario is with Biointegrative Health Center in Reno, Nevada. You can look them up online and see what kind of services they provide, what kind of treatments they do. They're always getting new treatments in that I think are pretty cool. So that's Dr. Nario, Biointegrative Health. Welcome, Doctor.
Hi, Steve. Thank you again for the invite.
Okay, so let's talk about toxins today. So maybe we should start with the definition of toxin.
Yeah, Steve. So this is something that you would always hear, especially in the integrative world that I practice in. And toxin, just to be straight up, these are substances that are potentially harmful for your cells and tissues of your body. These are small molecules or even proteins or other elements that comes from the outside or even from the inside of the body. And the body produces also its own toxins all the time due to the metabolic processes we have to survive. Example, when we create our own energy and we produce what we call free radicals. And these are the byproducts of these metabolistic processes that we have to live. And going back to free radicals, these are what we call unstable molecules. And they actually cause damage to the cell if they accumulate. It can also be produced by numerous toxins when you eat, when we breathe or consume substances such as tobacco. And we have specific mechanisms that allow to neutralize these toxins or eliminate them. And the reason why we need to have these systems, because we need to neutralize so that these levels of toxins could not reach a high point. And when that happens, the high point now becomes harmful to our tissues, thus causing disease. There are different types of toxins that are out there. Mental, emotional, of course, the stress in life that we live, like the COVID-related life, as people call it now. But in this specific video, we will discuss more of the physical and external and environmental toxins that we encounter every day.
Okay, so I know toxins can be environmental and they can be specific to maybe where people live. But what's an example of toxins that someone may encounter, just on a daily basis with some of what you just described?
Yeah, Steve. So again, that question alone, I probably would answer for you with more of like thousands or even millions of toxins out there. Not even this video would not even be justified to explain each and every one, but I will mention the most common ones that we have around us. So number one, when you're living in an urban area, or maybe rural that's turning into an urbanized place also, the air, the gas exhaust, the engine emissions, the tire wear off, even that, tire wear off, if you think about it. All of these components has high lead content. And of course, high lead content, all of these becomes a very bad exposure for us and causing us to be more prone to high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney, and even reduce the fertility of younger and reproductive men and women. Another one would be food. Food, you would hear about insecticides and pesticides, which is sprayed on these specific produces. And that's why organic is out there in the market as a label. And when you have these chemicals on board, most of the time, these are what we call the non-organic products. And what do we use every day in relation to these types of chemicals? Glyphosate, what we call the weed killer, DDT, DEET, malathion, again, leading to cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, sterility, and developmental disorders for children. For the ones, unfortunately, the ones who loves fish, which is also encompasses other seafood sources. And I have to mention the fish that we eat swims in polluted water, and they get exposed to what we call heavy metals. And specific one would be methyl mercury, an organic compound naturally occurring in seawater. And when the fish swims around, they eat small fish as well that had consumed the mercury in the sea. thus adding accumulation. This is what we call bioaccumulation. Sad news again for the sushi lovers. Why? The bigger fish is the one that actually has the bigger culprit in accumulating this mercury, which is tuna, swordfish, and mackerel. Again, mercury does damage to the brain, kidney, and lungs. Another one, water. So we're here in northern Nevada. We are probably known to be a very high field arsenic water source that we use here. And when the government says potable, we can brush our teeth with it. So we're thinking about showering, scrubbing ourselves with a rubber ducky in the shower, and when we cook with it. So think about that exposure and how much we do that every day. Lung, bladder, kidney, and skin is always affected by arsenic. And lastly, plastics. So BPA water bottles. So why do you think it's easy to crush and throw it in the trash? The thing here is, it's not because you're a muscle man or you're like Popeye. It's just because the lining of that bottle is very smooth and very soft, so it can be compressed and be malleable. And that's the reason why BPA is there. And when it's also exposed to heat, this is our bad habit, leaving that water bottle in the car, thus leaching happens. BPA now goes into your water and we drink it, thus increasing the risk for cardiovascular problems.
Wow. Okay, so what organs, I know that toxins have an effect on organs, but what organs are mainly responsible for eliminating or detoxing these toxins in the body?
Well, Steve, the biggest help that we get from cleaning this mess that we have in our system, basically two most important organs of detoxification. Number one, the liver. It has two phases. Phase one, it cleans out the fat soluble toxins in our system. So many toxins enter the body as fat soluble, meaning they stick into our fat. So that's why when I have patients who lost weight or lose weight, sometimes that's a process that when they do not feel good, for the reason that in that blob of fat, as it now gets disintegrated, it eliminates or releases the toxins from within, thus now being part of the circulation. And now it goes to also the phase two part of the liver detox, would be adding a water soluble molecule to the fat soluble for it to be easily now eliminated and now can be excreted in the kidneys and the stool. Another important organ is the kidney. So the kidney actually is responsible for removing waste and toxins once it's water soluble. So it's going to be circulating in the blood and actually be filtered in the kidneys. A good example for you is when EDTA or alkylation agent binds to heavy metals and renders them harmless to be actually removed through our urine. And again, it's essential that these organs work normally. And we do that through our lab assessment, through kidney functions and liver functions, for them to purify your body correctly. Diseases change the detoxification process and delay the elimination of toxins. Example, again, free radicals. If they get accumulated in our system, it affects aging and does more damage to our organs.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit about methods of detoxifying, something that's maybe a treatment or something that we can do, an external method to detoxify?
Yeah, Steve, so this is a question that I get a lot from patients. So I'll give you, there's a lot really, but I'll give you top three. One would be salt detox baths. And usually the ones that you would hear that's related to this are Epsom salt baths, and allows minerals to draw out toxins from the body. And Epsom salt is made of both magnesium and sulfate, whereas table salt is sodium. So that's why it's different. You need to use Epsom salt. And magnesium is absorbed and also it's absorbed in the skin when you're doing these baths. And I have to emphasize that magnesium is involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions. And part of this is detoxification. That's why it stimulates that whole process. And just a little tip for our viewers here, you can actually do this to use 2 cups of Epsom salt for a standard size bathtub with warm water and soak yourself in the tub for at least 12 minutes. or maybe even up to 20 if you have constipation. And another good one that I always recommend is infrared saunas. Infrared sauna releases infrared light and goes deeper into your body to release fat-soluble toxins, enhancing internal detox pathways, like, for example, stimulating the lymphatics. The use of infrared heaters that release infrared lights as heat and absorb through the surface of the skin is the mechanism and how it works. And far infrared technology, which is a non-invasive laser or a heat source, can penetrate the body as much as 3 inches. So imagine that, as deep as that. And make sure, again, it's far infrared, not near infrared or mid infrared, because there are such things out there. So many forms that you would see. There's like the bed form, like the mat forms that you can lay on, a cabinet box that you can like zip up and just your head getting exposed, or even wooden frames that they install in their houses. And another one would be, as we all know, the colon holds feces with water-soluble toxins. And feces stays longer in the body. And if they do, it increases the chance of recirculation. So constipation, again, is not good. That's why I recommend colon hydrotherapy, which can help with the natural processes and also improvement of the function of the colon, especially if somebody suffers from digestive issues. It's almost like a colonoscopy, but more relaxing. I've done it, but first it does feel weird, but I definitely always am looking for it, just for that cleansing feel. It uses liters of water that are introduced into the colon without pressure. Temperature of the water varies from about 68 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit to stimulate the intestinal activity. And additives such as, of course, herbs, vinegar, and even coffee enemas can be also be used to clean the colon.
What about apple cider vinegar in the bath? Does that work too? I heard it does.
It does, yes. It's almost the same concept of Epsom salt. It's just more of the acidity of apple cider vinegar is the one that makes the solution hypertonic, again, sucking all those toxins out of your system.
Okay, so what about supplements? I know there's a lot of supplements on the market that claim to detoxify the body, but is there certain supplements that you use or you recommend often for your patients to detoxify?
Yeah, Steve, that's another popular question again. Basic dosing again is what I'm going to give to our viewers here. And again, as I mentioned, always be guided by your medical professional. When you're talking about detox, too much detox or fast process of detox can lead to what we call aggravation, which means the patient or you not feeling well. And again, we gauge the organs of detoxification through lab testing and how safe an individual can go through and how much can somebody take. But let's go for the popular one, glutathione. It's one of the most potent antioxidants and regenerates the other antioxidants in our body like vitamin E and vitamin C. It's being created by our own liver, but if we have tons of toxins in the system, it's not going to be enough. And the form reduced is the one that you should look for, and we give this easily through IV therapies. The thing here is it's not always available in terms of IV because we're moving around. If somebody's going to be using glutathione, I would rather have them use oral liposomal, which is fat-based or ingredient in fat that can be delivered easily through the cells, not the capsule or the tablet. And again, this is not the first choice that I always do with patients for the reason that there are a lot of sensitive patients in relation to the use of glutathione. And it's not the first option. Always start low and go slow. Start with almost like 100 to 200 milligrams a day, and it's really good in removing heavy metals like mercury and lead. Another one is curcumin. So curcumin is always out there, potent anti-inflammatory, neutralizes the free radicals and activates the immune system. Basic dose, 500 milligrams 2 times a day, and it's very good for removing mercury, arsenic, and cadmium. Another one is omegas, so fish oil, EPA, DHA. The body has less supply of these supplements or these ingredients. They are potent anti-inflammatories and lowers lung injury of environmental inhalants, so the smoke in the urban area. Caution in the source though. We were just talking about fish. the fish of your fish oil should be heavy metal free. And we mentioned about it should be better to get it from smaller fish sources rather than the big ones. We recommend true and tested brands for our patients. So these are the ones that are medically, I guess, backed up by research. And again, simple clues for our viewers here. If your fish oil is bad, bite into it. If it tastes bad, or if when you take it, it causes burping or bloating, it's rancid. It's not a good quality type of fish oil. And lastly, I always have a binder at hand. It's good to add to remove toxins faster. A good example would be zeolite. This actually encapsulates the toxins, especially with the ones with a positive ionic charge, such as heavy metals, BPA, and pesticides. And what is a zeolite? A zeolite is actually formed when lava comes in contact with water, which forms a microporous structure, and they actually put this in supplements as a binder.
Wow, great information, doctor. Detoxing is very important, and just a decent effort, you can really help your body. So we appreciate the information. It's Dr. Nario at Biointegrative Health Center. Check them out online, see what they do. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, Steve. And as we all know, knowledge is power. And thank you for letting me provide you with the edge in longevity and health maintenance, which I call the biological edge or the bio edge.